Somalia, a land of ancient history and vibrant culture, was plunged into chaos in the early 1990s. The country was ravaged by a brutal civil war. Warring factions, driven by clan rivalries and a lust for power, tore the nation apart. The fighting displaced millions, leaving them vulnerable and desperate. Adding to the turmoil, a devastating famine gripped the land. Food and water became scarce. The weak and innocent, particularly children, bore the brunt of the suffering. Somalia was on the brink of collapse, a stark reminder of humanity's capacity for destruction. The international community watched with growing concern as the situation in Somalia deteriorated. The United Nations stepped in, deploying peacekeepers in an attempt to restore order. Their mission was fraught with danger. The peacekeepers found themselves caught in the crossfire, struggling to fulfill their mandate amidst the lawlessness. The world grappled with the images of suffering and violence emerging from the Horn of Africa. Something had to be done. The question was, how could the cycle of violence be broken and hope be restored to this shattered nation? The United States, a nation with a long history of humanitarian intervention, felt a moral obligation to act. The images of starving children and the plight of innocent civilians weighed heavily on the conscience of the American people. The Clinton administration, moved by the unfolding tragedy, decided to intervene. This decision would have far-reaching consequences, both for Somalia and for the United States. In December 1992, the United States launched Operation Restore Hope, a mission designed to alleviate the humanitarian crisis in Somalia. American troops, along with forces from other nations, landed in Mogadishu, the Somali capital. Their arrival was met with a mix of apprehension and relief. The situation on the ground was dire, with widespread hunger and violence. The primary objective of Operation Restore Hope was to create a secure environment for the delivery of humanitarian aid. American soldiers, working alongside aid organizations, began the daunting task of distributing food, water, and medical supplies to the desperate population. The presence of American troops had an immediate impact. The warlords, sensing the military might of the United States, agreed to a ceasefire. Humanitarian aid began to flow more freely, reaching those in desperate need. For a brief period, there was a glimmer of hope in Somalia. The international community praised the United States for its swift action and commitment to alleviating suffering. However, the situation in Somalia remained fragile, and the underlying tensions that had fueled the conflict were far from resolved. As time went on, the mission of Operation Restore Hope would evolve, leading to a dangerous entanglement in Somalia's complex web of clan politics and violence. As the security situation in Mogadishu stabilized, the focus of the US mission began to shift. While humanitarian aid remained a priority, there was a growing belief that lasting peace could only be achieved by addressing the root causes of the conflict. One figure emerged as a major obstacle to peace: Mohammed Farah Aidid, a powerful warlord who controlled a significant portion of Mogadishu. Aidid, a former Somali general and diplomat, had risen to prominence during the civil war. He commanded a loyal militia and was seen by many as a ruthless and ambitious leader. The United States and the UN saw Aidid as a destabilizing force, accusing him of obstructing humanitarian efforts and fueling the violence. In June 1993, the UN authorized the capture of Aidid and his key lieutenants. This marked a significant escalation in the US mission, shifting from a peacekeeping role to a more offensive posture. American troops were now tasked with hunting down and capturing a well-armed and elusive enemy, a task that would prove to be far more dangerous and complex than initially anticipated. Section 4, October 3, 1993. A day of courage and chaos. The events of October 3, 1993 would forever be etched in the annals of US military history. On that fateful day, American forces launched a daring daytime raid into the heart of Mogadishu, targeting a meeting of Aidid's lieutenants. The mission, involving Army Rangers and Delta Force operators, was expected to be swift and surgical. However, it quickly spiraled into chaos, becoming a desperate battle for survival. As the American soldiers fast-roped from their Black Hawk helicopters, they were met with fierce resistance from Aidid's militia. The element of surprise was lost, and the well-armed Somali fighters, hidden among the civilian population, put up a determined defense. Within minutes, the situation took a disastrous turn. a Black Hawk helicopter, hit by a rocket-propelled grenade, crashed into the narrow streets of Mogadishu. Section 5. Trapped in the heart of Mogadishu, a desperate struggle. The downing of the Black Hawk helicopter, call sign Super 61, sent shockwaves through the American command. The soldiers on the ground, outnumbered and surrounded, found themselves in a desperate fight for survival. The streets of Mogadishu erupted in a maelstrom of gunfire and explosions as Aidid's militia, sensing an opportunity, converged on the crash site. Amidst the chaos and confusion, acts of extraordinary courage and selflessness unfolded. American soldiers, despite being wounded and exhausted, fought with unwavering determination. They risked their lives to protect their comrades and evacuate the wounded. The battle raged throughout the night and into the next day, a brutal test of endurance and resilience. Section 6. The Price of Valor, Casualties and the Aftermath. As dawn broke on October 4th, the true cost of the Battle of Mogadishu became horrifyingly clear. 18 American soldiers lay dead, their bodies recovered from the streets of Mogadishu. Over 80 were wounded, some bearing injuries that would forever mark them. The Somali casualties, though difficult to estimate accurately, were believed to be in the hundreds, many of them civilians caught in the crossfire. The Battle of Mogadishu sent shockwaves through the United States. The images of dead American soldiers being dragged through the streets of Mogadishu, broadcast on television screens across the nation, sparked outrage and a fierce debate about the US role in Somalia. The Clinton administration, facing mounting criticism, made the difficult decision to withdraw American forces from Somalia. Section 7. Black Hawk Down, a legacy of courage and controversy. The Battle of Mogadishu, forever seared into the American consciousness as Black Hawk Down, left an indelible mark on US foreign policy. It served as a stark reminder of the complexities of military intervention, particularly in volatile and unpredictable environments like Somalia. The battle, while highlighting the extraordinary courage and sacrifice of American soldiers, also raised uncomfortable questions about the mission's objectives and the decision-making process that led to the ill-fated raid. In the aftermath of the battle, the United States retreated from its involvement in Somalia, leaving the country to grapple with its internal demons. The warlords, emboldened by their perceived victory, continued their struggle for power, plunging Somalia deeper into chaos. The Battle of Mogadishu, a testament to both the horrors of war and the indomitable spirit of those who fight, continues to spark debate and reflection, serving as a cautionary tale about the limits of military power and the enduring human cost of conflict.